Well, good afternoon, everybody.
Well, good afternoon to you.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good. There's a little different spacing in here.
So there was some recording done today.
Yeah.
And the setup or the resetup may have shifted a touch, but
It threw me for a second, but I think I can recover.
you can recover. You're
Yeah.
not going to throw a fit that you're,
I'm not going to.
3/8 of an inch too far over.
Right. Right. But I can manage.
As long as we can see this
Very
masterpiece behind me,
flexible.
we're good.
Yeah. Right.
I know
Look
not
at that.
everybody likes it, but boy, I tell you what, it matches the chair.
Yes. You're right about that.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I knew somebody that you would take that picture down if they ever used the studio.
Well, I think it's had that place for quite some time though.
Yeah. Yeah.
It hasn't moved
No.
in a while.
No, I think it's just a nice piece of art, you know. I mean, I wouldn't hang it in my house, but for the studio,
For the studio.
yeah.
Works nice.
So,
Yeah.
so, you know, that's why it's there. So, Lynn's consignment over there on Trop and
Yeah.
Eastern.
No deeper biblical meaning
No,
to
no.
it, is there?
Unless we talk about chaos,
Mm.
you know, it could be chaos.
Could be.
But also
Yeah.
my chair, also from Lynn's consignment, my Captain Kirk chair.
Yep. Those were some wild days.
Those were
in the
trying to
building of the studio days.
trying to fit a studio,
Mhm.
table from Target, you know. So
Oh, you remember where it all came from?
I do. Well, I
Yeah.
ended up.
Where does the carpet
That was Lynn's
beneath
consignment
us?
too. Yeah.
That is
yeah.
Lynn's consignment as well.
So I bought the tables because I like the fake marble and fake bronze legs. It's all fake.
Okay.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
You're not supposed to say that, but
I know, but it looks nice on camera.
it looks great. Yeah.
Ta-da! So they would retail, or if they were resale, they'd be about $3. So
But they make it look really
they make it
classy.
look fancy, right?
Mhm.
So I got to tell you, yesterday I got in trouble.
You did?
Yeah, it's my birthday. I shouldn't be in trouble.
Yes. Happy birthday, Pastor Ben.
Well, I wasn't fishing for birthday wishes.
but
I
it
got in
was your
trouble.
birthday.
I did get in trouble.
Okay.
So, worked all day. Had Bible study last night, as you know. We had.
Yeah.
We had.
Looked like a good crowd in there. I
good
was
crowd.
downstairs with the youth group,
and,
but
and tacos always brings in the crowd.
Mhm.
It's never the Bible study. It's the.
well, it's hard not to come out for
But they don't
tacos.
leave. But they don't leave.
They don't
right?
leave
so
either,
that's
though.
good. So, anyways, get wrapped up, talked to a few people, packed up, went home, and the first thing when I walk in through the door was, did you bring any of the birthday cake home that was served at Bible study?
Yes.
Because they had it on, so they were listening.
For those who came in person, there was birthday cake.
Birthday cake. So I walked through the door, and the first question home is, did you bring home any birthday cake?
And
The answer was no.
I'm
You
guessing you had the wrong answer.
Yeah, I had the wrong answer, so therefore I was in trouble.
Hmm.
So I was like, if you guys wanted birthday cake, you should have told me. I would have asked Linda to wrap some up and take some birthday cake home. But
I'm sure that would have been allowed.
and just for clarity's sake, I did not eat birthday cake at church either. I mean, I was teaching.
You didn't get there.
It wasn't like I ate my cake and then excluded my family. Nobody had cake in my family, right? So, so I was in the doghouse. I was in the Juno house when I got home
Oh
for
gosh.
not bringing birthday cake.
You didn't
home.
bring any birthday cake home.
Yeah. So I corrected the mistake. I changed the repentance. I repented a little bit and asked for day-old birthday cake today because there was some
Yeah.
left over. So I am bringing birthday cake home.
So you
today.
did you have any birthday cake at all
No.
on your actual birthday?
No,
Okay.
no. But I'm not an overly sweets guy.
Okay. So the
not a
birthday
fake
cake is not mandatory for you.
No, not at all. Not
Okay.
at all. I mean, I know you look at the stature and think he must eat birthday cake every day of the week
No.
and every day of the year.
No.
But in actuality, I do not have sweets are not my downfall.
Okay.
So no, so I don't need birthday cake. It's fine.
So no birthday cake, but you are bringing some home.
I am bringing birthday
today.
cake home today.
Enough for Juno too, or does
No,
Juno not
no,
get
no,
birthday
no,
cake?
No, she got some like some churro flavored treats right now. She's
Oh.
fine.
That is fine.
They're not
I know people who like
rawhides.
to feel bad if they don't give their
Yeah, they're
dog a
rawhide-
bit of
They're not
cake
rawhides
or
because those
something.
aren't good for dogs. But they're like rawhide like, but they're even shaped like the churros with the little like star shape.
Mm-hmm.
And so she'll get one of those. So
I think that's good,
So there's birthday cake to be consumed tonight.
as well as churro flavored dog treats.
Dog treats for Juno. So
Mhm.
yeah. So and it's perfect.
So the festivities continue.
I guess so. I guess so.
Mhm.
As it turns out that my mother-in-law is coming back up from Peoria, so
Okay.
she will be with us now for a little while, and so I guess it'll be birthday evening take two. So,
Great.
however, I did get two really cool birthday presents.
Oh, yeah.
So I got home and Rachel's like, present time. So I'm like, okay.
Oh.
I certainly don't expect it, right? Like,
Right. Right.
you know,
But so it is.
when you
It is
turn
kind of a
56,
nice
you're not
surprise.
really looking for like,
Yeah, but a nice
you're not
surprise.
making a birthday list, right?
Yeah.
You know. So one of them, and is I think most of you know, I do a lot of cooking in the house.
Mhm.
She bought me a nice cleaver, like knife, or it's like a rectangle with a handle, like the cleaver, and it's really good for chopping vegetables and meat.
Mhm.
And so she got, and it's a nice size. I mean, so I received a really nice, well-made German cleaver.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm kind of excited by that.
That's great.
And then two, she had made for me a binder, like a 3-ring binder, but it's a fancy cover and outside, and it says the Berggren Family Cookbook. So, and then because it's a 3-ring binder with plastic insert pages, I can now move some things off of my computer, print them out, and slide them into the binder pages.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I can assemble a cookbook of recipes of things I cook, but pretty much it's all sitting in a recipe file on my computer. Not that that's bad, but it'd be nice to put it into a complete kind of binder, and obviously room to add to as you want.
Yeah.
So I'll be able to do some printing and assemble kind of a stock of recipes that that I make on a normal basis at home, and have it in a nice cookbook. So
Oh, very nice.
so isn't that kind of fun?
That is very nice. Yep.
So it was a cooking themed birthday, I guess.
Well, I love that.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great day.
Yeah, it was a good day.
And yeah. And Bible study to top it all off.
Yeah, so I was telling you earlier, we're in the book of Daniel, and we just moved into the prophecy part. We were talking about this earlier. And often when you get to places in Scripture that have prophecy about what looks like to be real events in history, some theologians want to take that and somehow make it fit with current times.
You see it a lot in the
You
Bible.
see it a lot.
Yes. That beast that shows up. Oh
In
boy.
Revelation.
We're
Yeah.
in trouble
and
now.
in Daniel, there's 4 beasts.
There's
and
4 beasts.
One's even worse than the.
And it has an arrogant tongue.
Yes, well,
To
it's
top it all off.
Its horn has
Oh, yes.
The horn.
Yes, the horn.
that talky horn.
Yes. If you see a beast with a talking horn
You know,
and its arrogant lips.
it comes from Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So people will take these imagery and try to make it fit. Well, that was this, and now this is current time.
It's always current time.
It's always
Yeah.
current time. So before we can even talk about this stuff, I have to unpack it and say, not everything you read when it comes to prophecy is meant for current times. There may be a theme that we should carry through all the time, but don't try to overlay stuff that ultimately has no bearing on 2026 or 2027. And Daniel was written very specifically around a time frame right before the birth of Jesus, and some of this, and I called it semi-prophecy, was all aimed at this time right about 160 years before Jesus, when it was this Greek Seleucid invasion of Israel with a leader called Antiochus IV.
And they didn't like him.
They didn't like him. And the whole point of these prophecies were to say, well, he's there, he's terrible, but his end will come. But we want to just ignore that because it's all in veiled language, beasts with teeth and talking horns and all that. That we want to say, well, no, that actually is, name your current most unfavorite political figure and say, well, Daniel was talking about this person.
Yeah, and people tend to fall into that, and it's a spiral they can't really pull themselves out of. It just gets.
And what's hard about it is, in that spiral, is they're so consumed and, not consumed. They get so fixated on it, but it's also in the Bible, so they think they're being faithful. They're just focusing on the wrong stuff, and so it's really hard to break somebody out of it because it's like, but I'm studying the Bible and this is real, and you go, yeah, but really we need to focus in on the love of Jesus. We need to focus in on love. Love is the conduit of all things. Love is what will move us from this life into the next. Love is what connects us to Jesus. I mean, so when we get caught in that, it's hard to break somebody out of it. Yeah. And that's hard. So, but anyways, we started talking about that, and we got a few more chapters of Daniel to go. But really, one interesting part I was studying, and it was in chapter 8 where it talked about the desecration of the temple in Jerusalem. So this was written at a time when the temple was still standing, and the temple was desecrated by Antiochus IV. And the way that it was written in the book of Daniel had multiple possibilities in how it's translated, which really tells you something about the Bible when you're going from one language to another language. How you translate it matters, because there are possibilities even within a translation.
Yeah, okay.
So part of this was it all the Seleucid, or this invading armies, problem or rebellion, or translated in a different way, but an honest translation is, or was it both the invaders plus the ruling class that went along with it, and the rebellion really was amongst the ruling class that went along with the desecration. And I actually laid out 3 different translations last night, saying, depending on how you translate this, it could be we're putting the blame on the invaders, or we're sharing the blame with those who allowed it to happen without any protests. So I said, you got to be careful on how you translate things, because sometimes when things get dense or hard to understand, you go into that and you can find that maybe it says something you didn't expect it to say too. So anyways, just that is Confessions of a Bible Nerd today on Thursday.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it is one that it's an area you don't want to just gloss over, because people have gotten lost in there, and so it's good to talk about it and talk about, okay, what would have been the purpose of that originally, and how does that then speak to us today still? But it's very different than getting lost in identifying, oh, this is the one meaning and it's in my world today. And
that's right. The other thing I'll add before we move on today is there's a point where Daniel sees a vision of one like the Son of Man, who, and we saw this in the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego story, but it comes back, and the Son of Man really takes his place with, and in Daniel it says the Ancient of Days, which is a reference to, essentially in our lingo, God the Father. And doesn't say it there, but that's how we interpret this. And it says that he comes from heaven on the clouds. It's interesting to note that Jesus actually quotes that in the trial scene, or the trial of Jesus, when he is asked by the Sanhedrin, the Jewish council, are you the Son of God? And Jesus says, you will see the Son of Man descending from heaven on the clouds, and realized for the first time, even me, studying like, oh, this is referencing Daniel, and there's a lot of Son of Man talk in there as a representative of God, and you see Jesus referencing essentially Daniel. And if a part of this was written, let's say 160 years before Jesus, some of that is still pretty fresh. So it's really fascinating that even Jesus draws on some of that material.
Yeah. Yeah.
So always connections.
All these connections.
All these connections. So I know you didn't come for a rehash of Bible study last night, but there was some good stuff in there, right?
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back to today, 11 o'clock, and we did this on Tuesday with a different song. And this song is the first time I've heard it, but it is, I guess in terms of contemporary music, it's weighty. It has some substance to it. And that's what grabbed my attention. You know, sometimes when you're looking at contemporary music, the tune can be really great, but it can be repetitive, right? It just, you like it, but it's repetitive. This song actually has some weight to it in terms of all the things that are contained within the song. In some ways, you could call it a kitchen sink song. I mean, the writer of the song was throwing kind of a little bit of everything in there.
Okay.
But I thought it was really good, and I thought it was worth sharing so that we could unpack it.
Yeah,
today.
Let's do that.
So let's take a listen from 11 o'clock on Sunday morning.
Articulate with 1,000 tongues to lift one cry. Then from north to south and east to west, we'd hear Christ be magnified. I'll rejoice 'cause you're there too. I won't be formed by feelings. I'll hold fast to what is true. If the cross brings transformation, then I'll be crucified with you. 'Cause death is is just a doorway into resurrection life. If I join you in your sufferings, then I'll join you when you rise. And when you return in glory with the angels and the saints, my heart will still be singing, my song will be the same. Oh, Christ be magnified, let the praises arise. Christ be magnified in me. Oh, Christ be magnified from the altar of my life. Christ be magnified in me. Oh, Christ be magnified. Let the praises arise. Christ be magnified in me. Oh, Christ be magnified from the altar of my life. Christ be magnified in me. Praise God.
There's a song that has a lot of stuff in it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we could just. I bet we could probably spend a good hour, which we're not, pulling different verses from different parts.
Right. There's a
of
lot to
scripture.
that song.
But one of the lines that jumped out to me is this one: "I will not be formed by feelings. I will hold fast to what is true."
Yeah.
And I like that for a couple of reasons. Not because I'm a fully head person, so I'm like, that's me, and I like that, and that reaffirms my. Actually, I'm very sentimental. I'm nostalgic. I'm actually on the marshmallowy side of things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
a good place to be.
You know, a good story about the past moves my heart. You know, that all that kind of stuff. And you know, I'm a softie at heart, and even if it doesn't show, it's true. But so this whole line, "I won't be formed by feelings. I'll hold fast to what is true," to me, is like that reminder. And I know it though. Is like, you know, I gotta hold on to something more substantial than my feelings as it relates to God or my current situation. Like I need something like I don't know, the solid rock to stand on.
Yeah.
Versus how I feel in a moment. Because if we all live by just our emotions, our emotional state, you know, it would be a mess, even more messy world than it is today. You know.
It would.
And so holding fast to what is true, I'm reminded in Hebrews 10, let us hold fast to the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who is promised is faithful. And so there's a lot more structure around holding to our confession that Christ is Lord, that he died and rose again, than how are you feeling today?
Right. Right.
Because sometimes, you know, it could be here, it could be here, you know, we could be all over the map. And nothing wrong with feelings, mind you. But if they guide 100% of your decisions, I guarantee you will eventually make some really bad decisions purely on how you feel.
Yeah.
You know.
And feelings do guide us a lot more
do.
than perhaps we want them to.
Yep, that's exactly
they can
right.
They can teach us some things, but at the same time, to be ruled by that
is not
probably not where we want to be.
Yeah, talk about governing your emotions. Now, gut checks are good.
Yeah.
Like if you're using your head and something doesn't like feel right, you got to listen to that. But don't let your emotional state make every decision in your life.
Right.
Because there are some days that I do not want to unload the dishwasher. I just don't feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? It is good for the household and my personal well-being.
There you
to
go.
unload the dishwasher.
Yes, it is.
Even
it is.
when I don't feel like it.
When you don't feel like it. Yes.
I exaggerate. Everything is peaceful and calm in my house.
Yes. As long as you bring home the birthday cake.
As long
don't
as
forget
I
that.
if I don't bring home I might as well not come home at all. That's it. I'm spending the night on my couch here at the office.
There
That's
you
what
go.
That means. So, but I got the birthday cake. We're good.
We're all good.
And if I need to unload the dishwasher tonight, it will be done.
It will be done.
You know, because we live by that at our house.
It shall be so.
Yep. So Rachel's will be done.
There you go.
So, anyways, I like this. So the song comes to us from Cody Carnes, released in 2019 on the album Run to the Father. And like I said, it is more significant because there's a lot of stuff in there. And it is unusually substantive for contemporary worship. But let's take a look at a couple of things here. For example, at the very beginning, this is the song. Were creation to suddenly articulate with 1,000 tongues to lift one cry, then from north to south to east to west, we'd hear Christ be magnified.
Yeah, wow.
And we know that, I mean, even Jesus said, if people stopped proclaiming his lordship and his kingship on Palm Sunday, he said, even the rocks would cry out.
Yeah.
But there's an interesting verse in Romans chapter 8, before that whole section about can anything separate us from the love of God? That's later in chapter 8. But this is verse 22 to 24. Would you share that with us?
Yeah, so we know that the whole creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth right up to the present time. Not only so, but we ourselves, who have the first fruits of the Spirit, groan inwardly as we eagerly wait for our adoption as sons and daughters, the redemption of our bodies. For in this hope we were saved. But hope that is seen is no hope at all. Who hopes for what he already has?
So it's like a contrast. So the song says, well, if all creation could articulate, they'd say Christ be magnified. And in Romans, we hear like everybody's groaning. You notice that?
Yes. Yes.
Humans are groaning, creation is groaning, and it's a not yet moment in Romans. The pains of childbirth right up to the present time. In other words, we all are still trying to figure it out.
Yes.
We're all still trying to figure out the way forward. You tie that to emotion, trying to learn not to always live by emotion, and also at the same time not to be devoid of love, so living totally by your brain only. John said to the woman at the well, the Father is looking for worshipers in spirit and truth, a good balance between heart and head. So Paul's talking about this like not yet moment, but we're working towards it, and that but at the same time we are moving towards this time where the Spirit is moving within us, and we finally grasp this truth of we are children of God, adoption, right, into the family of God, so we're children of God.
Very important point.
Yep.
Shows up in Romans.
Yeah, and yet he says it's not there yet because if hope was realized, it wouldn't even be hope.
Yeah. No, if you saw it all,
if you got it all figured out, well, you wouldn't need hope, right?
Yeah.
And that's really the point he makes later on in 1 Corinthians. He talks about faith, hope, and love, and at the end of that, he says the most important or the strongest of these is love, because once we are face to face, we no longer need hope because it's realized. We no longer need faith because faith is trusting in something you quite can't put your hands on. So faith is realized, hope is realized, but what remains is love.
Is love.
So we're still on the path. We're still struggling. We get that. God gets that. No expectation of perfection. But at the same time, we still try to ground ourselves to take that next step forward in faith, and closer to God, closer to each other. Love God, love your neighbor. We're still working that out. But that's a reminder that even the future promise is every knee will bow and every tongue will confess, which means that all of creation would say, Christ be magnified.
Christ be magnified.
There's also another interesting verse. We're going to jump down to, because we mentioned Daniel earlier.
We did. We've been talking about Daniel a little bit.
Not only a Bible study, but today, but even in the song, there's this moment it says, and if it puts me in the fire, I'll rejoice because you're there too. So it's in the song.
Yes,
so,
very much an allusion to the story in Daniel.
That's right. So, and that story, if you're all familiar, is that moment Nebuchadnezzar builds a gold statue of himself that's, as high as the Sears Tower in Chicago. And they said, every time you hear music, you got to bow to it. And Daniel and his faithful friends say, are you out of your mind? We are not bowing.
They're over it.
Gold statue. Yeah, get over yourself. Right?
Yes.
Nebuchadnezzar.
Yes.
Like you can decree all you want, and the consequences, whatever, And so they don't. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego get caught, and they haul them in front of Nebuchadnezzar, and he's like, "You guys didn't bow." And I love the part of the story. It's like, well, we're not gonna argue about this. That's what these guys say. We're not gonna defend ourselves. We're not gonna argue about this.
Yeah.
We're in front of the king. Like we're not having this discussion because we're not bowing. And
right, and maybe if the question was, tell me about your God that you're not bowing to, I think they would have had a response for that.
Right. That's right.
But if they're just, why aren't you listening to us and doing what we told you? Like, they're not even gonna.
We're not engaging.
You're not engaging in
We're
that.
not engaging in this. And they say, and look, you can throw us in the fire, and that's fine. And if God can rescue us, but even if He chooses not to, we regret nothing.
Yeah.
That is so faithful, where you're like, you're not standing on emptiness, like marshmallowy feelings here. It's like, God has the power to rescue, but even if He doesn't, we're not regretting this decision. Get thrown in. All of a sudden, Nebuchadnezzar's looking into the fire, and what does he see? Not 3 guys before.
But 4.
But 4.
Yeah, there's a 4th person
Yeah.
in there with them.
Which is, I know it's Old Testament, because that's Daniel, but it's so theology of the cross that God shows up in our hardest challenges, our weakest moments, the times that we're struggling. That's when God shows up and does His work. Not because we're the best and not because we've somehow earned something. That in our moment of need, that's where God shows up. That's what theology of the cross, that's what we believe in here at this church. Not the theology of glory, where you kind of, if you're doing good, God's rewarding, and if you're not, well, then you must be doing something wrong. That's theology. We reject that. So even this Daniel moment is really a theology of the cross. God shows up in the brokenness.
Yeah.
Nebuchadnezzar sees this and calls him out, right? And says, I thought I saw 4 guys. And they're like, yeah, you did. And we're fine. And by the way, their clothes were not burned either.
The ropes that bound them were.
Yes.
But not their.
Yes, the captivity did burn off, but everything else. So even in that, we kind of think to ourselves, as the song says, if it puts me in the fire, I'll rejoice because you're there too. So that reminder of, I know, even Paul says, rejoice in our, we rejoice in our sufferings. And I know that's a hard thing to do. We don't want to do that. But it's also that reminder that's when God shows up too, in our struggles, that we're not alone and never will be alone.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. But we are glad today that you have spent some time with us. We finished our sermon series on our mission statement.
Yeah, went through it as we do every year.
Yep. At this time, we are still in the Easter season, so we're going to revisit 2 more stories tied to this Easter season, not necessarily tied to our mission statement, but the one this weekend is really fascinating because we actually revisit another portion of that resurrection story with Mary Magdalene that we did not actually talk about on Sunday because there's only so much time.
Yeah.
So there's another part of this story we got to cover, and it's tied directly to the Thomas story.
Okay.
So we're going to fill in the rest of the blanks here in the Gospel of John on what it means to live a resurrected life and to have faith in that. So I want you to join us that Saturday night, 5 o'clock, Sunday morning, 8, 9:30, 11, all Pacific time, but we'd hope to see you. So with that, we're going to say have a great afternoon. We love you. God bless you. And Philip, will you play us out?